G'day folks, Sunday morning, and I just felt inspired to do a video here on a bunch of different topics. There's a gentleman by the name of Stefan Molyneux on Freedomain radio, and he does incredible podcasts, really informative and eye-opening material. He's a very intelligent guy. He just has so much experience, which is what I gravitate towards, is the experience. And he talks about how science has really replaced Christianity as the new modern day religion, and this is so true. There's really four main religions in existence today. The first one being the traditional religions that we all know of. Religion as, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism. 4 or 5 major ones. So that's one. You have government as a form of religion too. People who place all their trust in government and believe that anything that comes out of the word of government is the truth. And then you have New Age movement, which is a big one. And this is all this. I'm not saying spirituality is wrong. It's good to be spiritual, but basically, the New Age movement is the new type of religious version. It's like spirit science, okay? And it's replacing the old religions. It's meant for the right brain imbalanced people who are naive and, I'd say, passive and it's. And then the opposite of that, so you have the right brain imbalance religion for those people, is the New Age movement. The left brain, which is the more dominant, aggressive, logical, is Scientism. And that's exactly what he's going into in this video. And I just find it incredible how so many people can really eloquently and articulately describe the problem and describe the symptoms and make all the links and put it so eloquently. But they never ask why. They never ask why. They never look at the causal factors. So I'm just going to show an example of this by playing his video, and I'm going to make comments. I'm going to try and keep this video under 15 minutes if I can. So here we go.
Thing, as I've said in many videos, is not to create arbitrary categories. I do not view any group of human beings as above corruption. And this doesn't mean that climate scientists are corrupt. Please understand, I'm not sort of jumping to that conclusion. Let me just sort of give you an analogy that tells you at least where I'm coming.
So he's talking about the whole debate about whether climate change is real or it's created. And again, I'm of the camp that it's not real. It's just another excuse to tax us, to control us, to gain absolute control over people. There's so many renowned climate scientists that are saying, listen, this is just a cycle. This is just part of the Earth's rhythm. Okay, the fourth principle of natural law, the principle of rhythm. There are ebbs and flows, ups and downs. And I'm not saying there isn't problems on the planet to do with pollution. I mean, we're pouring like sludge and, pumping out chemtrails, and there's tons of pollution problems. But to say that we are changing the climate of the planet, you got to look deeper. You got to follow the money trail and see what the real intentions are. So that's kind of the context of this video, just to give you some background.
From and the reasons why. Priests can be corrupted. Politicians can be corrupted. CEOs can be corrupted. The ring will corrupt just about everyone. And power corrupts. I am with Lord Acton on that, where he said power tends to corrupt. Absolute power tends to corrupt. Absolutely. And because we have a kind of pyramid structured society, we got a hierarchy, we got people at the top who have lots of power, who order around hundreds of billions or trillions.
Again, he sees the system. He sees it all. But it's amazing to me because this guy, he majored in history and philosophy. And the question of whether this is right or wrong never comes up. It just describes the problem. And to me, anyone who claims to be a guru, a spiritual leader, a mentor or anything, and they don't fucking tell you that certain things are right and certain things are wrong, they're a fraud. They're a fraud straight up. And they're not doing any service to humanity if they're not addressing the fact that certain behavior is wrong, certain behavior is right, and this needs to be looked at, and this has to be challenged. So, again, you'll listen to him beautifully describe the problem.
Of dollars who have massive amounts of weaponry and guns and a prison industrial complex. We're kind of in this taser-based pseudo-social contract, cattle-prodding, herding society where lots of force is used to order people around all the time. Everybody who has a good idea thinks that good idea ought to become a law and be used to attack people who disagree with them and send them to prison or threaten them with fines, with the result being they go to prison if they don't pay the fines, should they decide to act on their conscience against the
land of the free and home of the brave, huh? Yeah. Amazes me, people, patriotic people who actually believe that bullshit. Anyways.
busybody do-gooding impulses and control freakism of the self-appointed moralizers of the species.
So there you go. Control freakism of the self-appointed moral arbitrators of the species. So he's talking about these psychos at the top. Okay?
So, because we live in this pyramidic structure where we put a small number of people in charge of a huge number of lives and massive amounts of resources, we can only justify that or really survive it psychologically if we believe that there's a group of people who are uncorrupted by power. Now, the voluntarist, or I would say the philosophical approach to society, is to recognize that nobody is immune to power. Therefore, you cannot have a centralized agency of near universal force at the center of society.
No one's immune to power. He's saying, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And we've given the people at the top absolute power. So what do you expect is going to happen? Okay? So what's the solution? Okay? So we know there's a problem now. We know that there's a minute bunch of people at the top who are control freaks, who believe that they have a moral right vested to them to control other people, when really that's bullshit. That's not in harmony with natural law. Okay? It's wrong. They don't have anything special. What they've done is they've crippled the rest of humanity through mind control. And that's why they're dominant over them. And that's what occultism is all about, is hiding certain knowledge that you have, not giving it to other people so that you can have a step, an edge over them to control them. There's nothing special about these people. They're not, people are obsessed with eugenics. They think certain people are genetically superior. And it's like, people have things that they're better at, for sure. You're born with, abilities. You're born with tendencies to excel in certain things. But that doesn't make you better than anyone intrinsically. It doesn't mean you have more value as a person. Sure, we're not all equal. I'm not saying we're equal. I'm saying, some people can produce really well at carpentry. Some people can produce really well when it comes to arts and music. Other people are really good at caring and listening and teaching. You have people who are, visionaries, who can predict things. What I'm saying, though, under natural law is that there's no natural right for anyone to believe that they are superior or better or deserve to control the life of any other conscious being. And as a vegan, you'll understand this. Just because we're smarter than the cows doesn't give us the right to control their life from birth to death. It's not fucking right. If you have a conscience, if you have a heart, you will know this. If you don't, you're psycho. Alright? And you need to at least accept that you have mental illness. Anyways, I went on a tangent. I'm going to continue with this. So, again, describing the problem beautifully, as everyone does.
Because it will corrupt and destroy just about everybody who comes in contact with it. And those who it doesn't corrupt and destroy, it keeps around as pets of supposed honesty in order to present a more moral veneer to the general population. So once you recognize and accept the basic truth that power corrupts, then you give up the fantasy that you can create an exclusionary group of magical human elves who are uncorrupted by power. Now, once you accept that, well, that opens you up to some really clear thinking about how society should be organized, which is it should spontaneously self-organize in the absence of coercive force and a centralized violent power known.
It should spontaneously organize without coercive force. So what is he saying here? This is exactly what natural law states, which is amazing actually. Right now we live in a system where people have internal anarchy. Okay, they don't know themselves. They don't have a connection to their higher selves. They have no inner control. They have no ruler within. There's no authority within. So they have inner anarchy, and we live in a system of external monarchy. So it's totally backwards. Okay? We're being externally controlled by these powers, but internally we have no supreme ruler. It has to be the opposite. It has to be internal monarchy. So we have control. We are the one sovereign master of ourselves. No one else controls us. We do. And then allow for external anarchy, which is simply without a ruler. There's only one ruler for every person, that is themselves. That is how it's supposed to be under natural law.
As the state or a centralized indoctrinating power known as religiosity or whatever. So that's the reality. And we do have this fantasy that scientists are somehow, white-coated other beings from other dimensions, incorruptible by power, solely dedicated to the...
So true. We have this vision of scientists as being, just because they're really intellectual, that means they're morally upright. And they're incorruptible. And they would never turn a blind eye, to certain information that goes against what their masters want them to peddle to the masses. And we think, oh, they have no agenda other than to pursue the truth. Right. You think scientists, it's all money. It's all money. You don't hear scientists talking about morality, about natural law, about the difference between right and wrong. When's the last time you heard a scientist talk about that? Because they don't give a shit about that stuff. They just peddle what they're told to do. Again, they're in this pyramidal structure. They have instructions from their masters, and they follow through on them.
Self-interested pursuit of knowledge for its own sake, for the beneficiary of mankind, and so on. They are the new priests. This is the way that priests used to be viewed.
Scientists are the new... Brilliant, man. I love it when other people get it. So you had the old religions, which are being slowly discarded. And you have the new religions, which are being brought in. And everything comes from above, okay? All our culture, everything. The old priests who used to preach in the church from the pulpit are being discarded. The new priests are scientism and experts. That's going to be the new priest class. Experts, scientists, gurus. These are the people who everyone's going to, hold on to every word they say. Every word that comes out of them is truth. Just like we did that with the priest class of the traditional religions. So, I'm closing in on 15 minutes. I'm going to end it there, but I just wanted to let people know the whole climate change, carbon tax is a scam. If you believe in that, you're being hoodwinked, you're naive, and you're not going deep enough. So, that's it. We'll catch you next time.